Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's immediately get into the latest news. And according to reports, Arsenal have a budget of 300 million to spend this summer transfer window. If that is 100% the case, that is absolutely exciting, man. That would be extremely exciting. Now, I think we're definitely going to spend more than 200 million. If we do get to 300 million, then man, I cannot wait for this transfer window. I already cannot wait for it with the new director and everything. I can't wait to see, the new target, a new director. Maybe you're not going to have the same targets as we had before. All that is very exciting. Now, the 300 million this season, like in the Champions League, we are earning a lot of money as the farther we go. And obviously, last summer transfer window, the money that we sold Smith Rowe for, sold Nketiah for, and all those guys, we never really spent that money. And then this transfer window as well, we're going to, some players are going to leave as well now. Most of them are going to be on a free, but we could get maybe at least one sell in terms of money. And then the players who are on loan, we might end up getting some money for them. You're going to get money for players like Tavares. As I claim, I thought, apologies. Tavares is one of the players that we are going to get money for. Lokonga, we might, and those other players who are on loan. So 300 million would be stunning if you can spend that money. So let's first cover that, and then we'll talk about the players that you've been linked to, and then also a couple of players who might end up staying at Arsenal. So let's start with this. Let's start with this one, and that is on the budget. So according to reports from the second line says information confirms that Arsenal has 300 million for the next transfer window. So I've seen this from a couple of journalists. Let's be honest, the last three transfer windows, especially the January transfers have been very, non-exciting. We didn't buy any on the last two January transfer windows, and the one that has just passed the summer transfer window, the players that we wanted to buy, we didn't get any of them. I remember at the beginning of the transfer window, I was asked which player do I want the most in this transfer window, and I said Gyökeres. That was the player I wanted. Now we didn't end up getting Gyökeres, we didn't end up getting Isak, we didn't end up getting Sesko, we didn't end up getting Nico Williams. We didn't end up getting Bakayoko, the player I also wanted as a differential and all that. You didn't end up getting any of those players. Instead, we got Calafiori, which a very exciting signing. A lot of players wanted him. Exciting Italian defender this season. He's also more attacking-wise than defensive-wise. And he's also had injury problems. Same with Merino. He's also had injury problems at the beginning of his Arsenal career. And then there's Sterling, which hasn't worked. Everyone agrees with that. And then Raya making the deal permanent. That was great. David Raya joining Arsenal permanently. That's a great signing, but obviously he was already there the previous season, so it didn't really excite fans as much as maybe it could have if he was just signed this past transfer window. So no attacking players at all, not what you wanted in this in that past transfer window. But this time, we messed up last time. This time we have to make it correct. Now, there's a conversation people have always had throughout this season. I don't get into that conversation about it and all that. Now, if you give him 300 million and you have a new director and all that, and then next one it doesn't work again, then we can potentially have a conversation. But I'd like to think with 300 million, we'd make the right decisions this time around. I'd like to hope so, because it's so obvious. It's so clear what we need. It's so clear what we need. We cannot. Next on something we can't do is to overplay Saka again, overplay Havertz again, overplay Odegaard again, and all these players. No, we need. Defensively, we're okay. No one is asking for us to sign a defender. No one is asking for us to sign a goalkeeper to replace Raya, although there's a few who are doing that. That's crazy. No one needs a replacement for Raya right now. No one is asking for a replacement for Declan Rice and all that. We need forward players. That is what we need. And 300 million. That would definitely do the job. 300 million would definitely do the job. That would get you at least 4 top signings, and not all of them have to be 100 million. If you get a top striker, of course, it's going to cost you 90 to 100, but the other 200 million, you can get a 40 million winger, 50 million winger. You can get another even backup wing, another one for like 15 million, just to add to the numbers. We cannot go into next one once again with a squad of what feels like it's like 13 players only. Like if one gets injured, we're in trouble. No, we can't do that next season. So according to the reports, we do have 300 million. A couple of seasons ago when you bought Rice and Havertz, I think it was 250. So the 300 million is not too crazy, because two transfers, 2 seasons ago, we spent 105 on Rice, we spent 65 on Havertz, and we spent 40 plus on Timber. We spent a lot of money that transfer window, so that was already 200 million plus for just those 3 players. So let's hope the 300 million is accurate. And Andrea Berta is going to be very, very crucial. Now, let's go back to the first paragraph. According to Ben Jacobs, Andrea Berta is keen to sign Bruno Guimaraes along with Martin Zubimendi. Now, again, that is interesting. Those are 2 midfielders, Bruno Guimaraes and Zubimendi. Those are 2 midfielders that are going to cost a lot of money. Zubimendi is like 50 million and Bruno Guimaraes will be like 70 million. So if they actually ended up getting both, that is already 120 million. Now, if it's 300 million, you still want to have 180 million to spend on a backup goalkeeper, a striker, and a winger as well. Now, Andrea Berta, our new director, is going to be announced soon, probably during the international break. He does want Bruno Guimaraes, and obviously we had already basically done enough work to sign Zubimendi in the transfer window. Now, is that a case of maybe Andrea Berta coming in thinking, actually, I wanted Bruno Guimaraes first, but then they're like, okay, we already wanted Zubimendi in here. And it's like, let's try and get both. Let's get both. Why not? Now, this season, you're going to lose, or next season, you're going to lose Partey. Partey is not 100% confirmed, but so far we haven't had anything at all about him signing a new contract. He might end up staying, but if Partey stays, I don't think he'll be starting games for us next season, or regular games. That's what I mean. Jorginho is definitely going to leave. He's already leaving. And Zinchenko's all of a sudden playing in midfield. Could we be using him in midfield next season? Lewis Kelly is a midfielder as well. Will he be a permanent left back, or is he going to move back to midfield? A lot of things to decisions to make. Marine is a midfielder as well. Is he going to be playing in midfield, or is he going to remain a backup for the forward positions? A lot to think about this. The preseason will be very important this time around. It's always important, but this time it's extra important to get a lot of things right heading into the season. We've already seen to compete to win the league. We've already competed for it twice seriously in this one. We've seen how far Liverpool have gone. You have to be serious from day one. You can't even start the season with a draw. That can cost you. Have to start the season right away with 9 wins out of 10. That has to be the case. So you have to start the season ready, like we did 2 seasons ago. 1 season ago, you have to start the season very, very ready. So Bruno Guimaraes is an interesting one. Bruno Guimaraes is a player that we've been linked to since his Lyon days before he joined Newcastle. We wanted Bruno Guimaraes from Lyon, but we never actually ended up getting him. But looks like we are still interested in him, and we've gotten a new director who wasn't part of the Arsenal recruitment team back then, and he also wants Bruno Guimaraes, so maybe that is something they will definitely agree on. But as they say here, Bruno has a verbal agreement to leave for 70 million if Newcastle don't reach the Champions League. Now, Bruno Guimaraes would not be my priority signing. No, that would only happen if we've already gotten a striker and a winger. Then you can look at a midfielder. And some can even argue, you don't even maybe need 1 striker, you need 2. But I think we're only going to get 1, mainly because Havertz is going to be back next season, and Jesus is now not going to leave because he has an ACL injury. He's also going to be back next season. I know. That's just how it is. Havertz and Jesus will be here next season, and also Marine is an option up front, I guess. So I think they're only going to sign a striker and a winger. Personally, I would have loved 3 forward players, but again, we have to wait and see. This time around, we have to have enough players. So I don't know if you went and spent 70 million on Guimaraes and 70 million on Zubimendi at the beginning of the transfer window. I don't think Arsenal fans would be happy with that. They'd be like, come on, man. Again, where's the striker? And also you have to, prioritize. You have to prioritize. And for me, Gyökeres would be my first sign in this transfer window. That is the first guy I would go and get. But that's the latest on the 300 million to spend. And also Andrea Berta, our new director, wanting Bruno Guimaraes along with Martin Zubimendi. If that happens, then that will probably mean Partey leaves and Jorginho leaves, because also you have to look at salary. Partey is getting a lot of money, and I'm sure if Bruno Guimaraes and Zubimendi come in and a top striker and a top winger, that's a lot, although you have to pay a lot of money to compete for the title. Now, second piece of news, the same this time. from Hans of Ozil has inside information. Andrea Berta has been tasked to close the deal of Martin Zubimendi, which is yet to be finalized. Arsenal believe they have done all the groundwork to land the Sociedad midfielder. Sources say his parent club have lost all hope of returning him beyond the summer. So this one looks like it's going to be done. The Zubimendi one, now you just have to wait for the Bruno Guimaraes run. Now, again, Zubimendi is a player we've been linked for the past couple of years, and he's been wanted by Liverpool and a few other teams, but he's always been keen on remaining at Sociedad. But this time around, looks like he's going to leave, and looks like he's going to end up at Arsenal. I watched him against Man United yesterday. Sociedad were poor; they're also down to 10 men. I think Zubimendi is a good player. We've seen him covering for Rodri for Spain during the Euros and winning the whole tournament. He's a very good player. So as a replacement for a player like Jorginho, who's obviously at the end of his career, for me, that would be a good signing. And you have to keep on improving. For us right now, we need to improve the forward positions, but to keep on going to the next level in the future as well, you have to keep on improving the midfield. You have to keep on improving the defense and all that. Although I think we have a lot of very good defenders in midfield. It's tough to improve on Rice or improve on Saliba or Gabriel right now. Very tough. I think we have the best of the best in those positions. But Berta will be finalizing that deal as well. I'm very excited to see him getting started, man. And it's great that we've brought him in early so that he has a lot of time to, 2 months, 3 months before the transfer window starts. That is enough time, to get to know the targets and himself to propose other targets as well for Mikel Arteta and the rest of the board and the rest of the coaching team, and which players could be available and all that. According to Plattenberg, that is a political from Germany, Alexander Isak is now a concrete target for us in the upcoming transfer window. Now, could getting a player like this all of a sudden become very possible because we have a new director, maybe better at negotiations and all that? It could be, but obviously I can't see us going and getting both Isak and Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle. That is not possible. Newcastle would not even say yes to that at all. That would not be the case. Now, for me, Gyökeres would be my first option in terms of striker. Isak would be second, but if we got Isak, I'd still throw a 2-week party because we've never really signed a player like that since maybe Aubameyang, and that was back in 2018. So we definitely need a striker. Maybe I'm even at a point of just get any of them, really. We just need strikers right now. We've suffered, man. Like, going into Champions League games with that forward line we had the other day, it didn't matter the game. The game didn't matter, but, if it's a second choice team in that particular game, you'd have thought, okay, Saka is first team, Isak is first team, and maybe let's say Martinelli is first team. And then if everyone is fit, you think, okay, the players who haven't played a lot, let's put them in this game, play Havertz, play Trossard, play Nwaneri, maybe play someone else. But that is not the case because now Nwaneri is a first team player because we don't have Saka. Merino is a first choice striker because we don't have anyone else. Trossard has to play every game because we don't have anyone else. So no, we can't have ourselves in that position anymore at all. So Isak is a player that I think we've always had concrete interest, but the money has always been a problem. And I think now after this, his money is actually going to go even further up. So the question is for you guys, if you have 300 million budget, would you be willing to spend half of it on Isak? Would you be willing to just splash 150 million? Or would you go for potential cheaper signings like Gyökeres would cost maybe 70 or 80 million? So that's one thing to consider. It depends on what kind of winger you want and what kind of midfielder we are going to get as well. So if you just are happy with, just a top striker and a top wing, and then the other positions you can get 20, 25 million players in terms of price, then you can splash that kind of money on Isak. But let's see how it goes. That is according to Playtigoal in Germany. And then this is interesting from German source, from Bayern source. The first one, Arsenal is interested in transfer of Leroy Sane, who is currently 29. Sane is a free agent in the summer. No negotiations with FC Bayern about a new contract yet. Mikel Arteta worked with Sane at Manchester City. Now, you remember the secret signing from Germany that we are linked to? I think it was Sane, right? It was Sane. Why am I forgetting? Pretty sure it was Sane that we wanted from Bayern Munich last season. Now, it didn't happen. He ended up staying at Bayern. Now, this summer transfer window is going to be a free agent. Now, he's worked with that before at Man City. Does that remind you of Sterling? Hopefully, so if we end up getting him, it's not like that one. But yeah, He actually worked with both of them, and both of them say this was the reason why like they improved their game and they're scoring goals and getting lots of assists. Now, Sane would obviously demand a lot of salary. That is one thing that will be a problem. But if it's a free agent and a winger, now what I would do, I would still get a striker and I'll get a winger like Nico Williams. And then if you're going to get someone like a Sane on top of that for free, then that one I would definitely be happy with. Now, if that would happen, a striker, Sane, and another winger, then that would probably mean one of our players is leaving. We'll talk about that. But yeah, no negotiations with Bayern about a new contract yet, and he's going to be a free agent, and he's 29. So Leroy Sane, would you guys be tempted to get him on a free? I'm sure he would demand like 200,000 per week or something. And also from the same source, Bayern are interested in a transfer of Nico Williams. Arsenal are also in contact with the management of Nico Williams. Williams has a release clause in his contract. The amount should be between 60 million and 80 million. That is in euros. So around 50-60 million pounds for Nico Williams. Again, another player I watched last night in the Europa League playing against Roma. He actually scored while he was playing on the right wing. He scored from the right side. That's another interesting one. Now, if Sane had a contract with Bayern, I would say if we get Nico Williams, maybe they don't give us Sane. But if he's a free agent and we can also get Nico Williams, why not? This transfer window, you have to be serious. There's no reason why you can't get the top players. No reason at all. Ever since we were able to get Declan Rice, I was like, okay, that is something that we finally broken, that we had a problem with. I never thought we could sign players for 100 million and man still want them and buy and want them. Now that has changed. Now we are regularly in the Champions League and we're regularly competing for the title, although we haven't really decent, but you get what I mean. Like we are not like in 7th, 8th like we were 6 years ago. So that is something that is going to be very interesting to see. So that is Nico Williams. And then Trossard, the last one. Arsenal want to resume contract negotiations with Leandro Trossard in the coming weeks after being unable to reach an agreement in recent months. However, with figures from Saudi Arabia in mind, an extension does not seem easy. Now, if that is the case, that's what I was saying about Sane and Nico Williams. If you get both of them, then it is very easy to see someone like Trossard leaving. Is it going to be him? Is it going to be Martinelli? I'd love to keep all of them and use Trossard off the bench and maybe use Martinelli off the bench because they're still good players, but this only been depending on them too much, and I don't think that the players to like depend on to, win 30 games in a row. But they're still very good players that I'd like to keep. But again, depends on which players we are going to get and which players we're interested in, and which players we're going to finally get. And this transfer into something I want to see is, can we get a few early signings? I think I'd say used to like that. The Merino one and the Calafrio one took a long time, but I remember I'd always loves like getting players early before preseason. That happened with Rice, with Havertz, with Jesus and Zinchenko before preseason. Was there any more news? Bukayo Saka's fitness. I'd just say Bukayo Saka is getting closer to a return, but the closer that one gets, we will discuss that more. But interesting. 300 million to spend. Oh, that would be very exciting. Let me know what you think about all that. Sane, would you get him on a free, or would you be scared to turn out like the Sterling signing? How much would you pay for Nico Williams? Isak, would you want first? Let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.